We can create our type in pretty much any application. So if you want to use Microsoft Word, you can go ahead and create your text, copy and paste it into the application of your choice. We can also create it inside of Photoshop. We can create it inside of Illustrator. And yes, we can actually create it inside of After Effects. But what I want to do is show you guys a workflow that incorporates many applications so that we can composite everything inside of After Effects. So what I have here is a 600 pixel wide by 800 pixel wide document. I think 800 might be too tall, so I'm going to drop this down to 700. The resolution is 72 because that's all your screen can show. The color mode is RGB. The background contents are transparent again, so we don't have to worry about seeing behind our text. I'll go ahead and hit OK. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab our type tool. And we're going to type the word star. The reason just star for now is so we can focus on getting this right, and then we'll go ahead and duplicate this layer and make the word crash. So what I'm going to do is grab my selection tool and press Command or Control T on the keyboard. This will enable the handles that allow me to resize this. So I'm going to simply click on the handle and enlarge this text like so. And then I'll hit Enter or Return to accept it, because I wanted to get this exactly the right way. And now what I'm going to do is duplicate this. So I'm going to go over here in my layers and just grab this layer and drag it to the new layer icon. And then I'll double click on this T here, which will highlight the text, and I'll type crash. Now the font that I'm using is called Bank Gothic. If you don't have that font, not really a problem. Just use any bold font that looks like something that would be appropriate for a space-themed movie or whatever, and use that. So Bank Gothic, even though it has the word bank in it, does have a kind of a sci-fi feel. So this is Star Crash on two different layers. And I'll go ahead and rearrange them by going like this. So stars on top and crash on the bottom. Not really important, but I like to do that anyway. As you can see there, to double click on one of these letters here will enable you to select your text. Now we can go here and grab a color on this swatch. And I'll choose that kind of Star Trek orange color. And I'm going to grab my move tool, deselect it. I'll double click on crash. I'll click on this swatch here. And instead of trying to guess what color this is, as you can see, when I move my mouse down, I get the eyedropper tool. Now I can click on the star and get that same exact color. A little shortcut. Now what I want to do is I want to take this text and turn it from an actual font into a graphic, because I want to add an outline around this text. Now if you look over here, when I go to Edit, Fill and Stroke are ghosted out, because even if I grab this text and double click on it, I still can't use the fill and stroke, which means I can't use any of these colors here to put an outline around the text. So what I have to do is I have to turn it into what's called a raster, break it down into pixels. So I'm going to first of all change the color of my foreground swatch to a very light blue color. Then I'll go to my star layer, I'll go to my layer menu, I'll go to rasterize and choose type. Notice now that the T is gone and I have the picture of the text here because it's no longer editable text. I can no longer double click on it to grab that text. You'll notice that when I double click, I get the layer style dialog box. But if I double click here, I can still highlight that text. So that's the difference. So let's do the same thing on this layer. We'll go to the crash layer, we'll go to layer, and we'll go to rasterize type. Now, when I go to one of these layers here, I should be able to stroke it, which means give it an outline. So I'm going to make this about, let's see, 5 pixels, and we'll see how that looks. All right, not 55. And I'm going to choose outside so that the outline will go around the text. And I'm going to choose my color, which is this color here. Hit OK. And as you can see, we get this nice outline or a stroke around our text. Let's do the same thing with the word crash. We'll go to Edit, Stroke. The settings will remain the same. Hit OK. And now we have Star Crash with a nice transparent background. Now, of course, this area here we don't need because we just need to focus on our logo. So let's go ahead and grab the menu over here in the Layers panel. And we're going to choose to flatten the image, and that flattens it down. Now, if you don't want to lose your transparency, you can undo that. And what you can do instead is you can choose to merge down. Now, you notice a difference here. When you flatten your image, it gets rid of the transparency, but when you merge down, it keeps your transparency, but it still combines both layers. And you can just take this crash here and just type logo if you want to. Hit enter or return to accept. Now let's grab our crop tool, this guy right here, and we're going to draw a boundary around the areas that we want to keep, and we're going to simply double click. And now we can save this. We can go to save, save as, and we can call it logo on our desktop or wherever you'd like to save it, and save it once again in the PNG file format. Now, the PNG file format always retains your transparency, and it's a great time saver, so you don't have to use a lot of the blend modes that you'll find inside of After Effects. So go ahead and save that, say OK to the PNG options, and now we have our logo. Feel free to do the same thing for the actor's name, William Awesome. The same exact steps, and we'll be ready to go.